Oh my God, take a look at this. A football player knocks out his girlfriend and the video is released. A bloodbath at the Harris County DA's office. How the new DA, Kim Ogg, is explaining her actions. Investigators say a Houston man brutally stabs his mother to death while she's on the phone with his grandmother. The water crisis in Corpus Christi. We'll have a reporter there with the latest. The former poster child for police abuse now arrested for murder. What is wrong with Chad Holley? And the legendary Pancho Claus coming your way on this Christmas edition of the Factor Uncensored.
This is the Factor Uncensored.
It's another Friday Night Live. Welcome to the Isiah Factor Uncensored. We're calling this a Christmas edition, so we have a Christmas theme going, but we have a very busy news day, so let's get right down to business with Hot Topics and Angela Chen. Lots of news going on today, Angela.
Absolutely. Now, we're kicking off Hot Topics by going down south to Corpus Christi, can't even say it. Corpus Christi, where a tainted water supply has led to a ban on their water usage. You know, we know Lindsay Henry is out there.
Absolutely. We had a chance to speak with her earlier today. Take a look. Lindsay Henry, you've covering this for Fox 26 in the Factor Uncensored. What's the latest in Corpus Christi? Is the crisis over?
It's still actually going on as of right now. Now, some of the restrictions actually have been lifted, but other areas, that's not exactly the case. There are still folks here that can't use the water for drinking, cooking, bathing, all of that. But throughout the day, there's actually been quite a few restrictions lifted. Some folks south of South Padre Island Drive, that's one of the highways here, have actually had most of the restrictions lifted. So those folks can actually bathe and use that water to wash clothing and everything like that. There's some areas this morning where other restrictions were lifted, including Cal Allen, North Padre Island, as well as Flower Bluff. Those areas had the restrictions lifted this morning. So these folks, when they woke up today, they weren't able to use this water for anything, for cooking, cleaning, anything like that. And now it's just a smaller portion of the community that is still under these restrictions.
Lizzie, do we know what the problem is there in Corpus Christi, and what kind of timeline do they have for remedying or fixing that problem?
Well, so we just got done with a press conference with the mayor where he told us that it's going to be at least another 24 hours where they have any sort of tests done. He's going to be working all weekend long, as well as with several other city officials to hopefully figure out what's going on. But what started this was on Wednesday when the city found out that some chemicals used to make asphalt had actually gotten into the water supply system. So that's what all started this. So they're trying to figure out how much of this is left in the water and how long will it take for these chemicals to be lifted out of the water.
All right. Thanks a lot, Lindsay Henry. We'll see you back here in Houston.
All right, and back here in Houston, many in Alief are mourning a school board's VP after she was stabbed by her son. Our Randy Wallace has this one.
Alief school board member Deidre Jefferson posted this picture of herself and her 22-year-old son Blake on her Facebook page just 5 days ago. Sheriff's deputies say at 2 a.m., Jefferson called her mother, Ella, in a panic.
Stated that he was not in his right mind.
The family's pastor, Greg Patrick, says Deidre told her mother Blake had taken a bottle of pills.
She screamed, "He's stabbing me."
Deputies say Ella Jefferson rushed to the West Wind townhouses on Garden Grove Court to find her daughter dead. Patrick says Blake spoke recently about having spiritual visions.
They were not telling him to hurt anybody or anything like that, but he was hearing from the Lord, I believe.
Patrick says he was supposed to meet with Blake today for what he thought was Blake's revelation about becoming a minister.
I had no idea that there was conflict in his mind, and there obviously was.
Tonight, Blake Jefferson is charged with murder. Randy Wallace, Fox 26 News.
All right, moving over to our next topic, some white noise over at White Oak. Neighbors want to stop the music at a concert hall in the near Northside neighborhood. That's the battle between White Oak Music Hall and the families who live around that music hall. Those families want this music hall shut down. They're serious. They're super serious because they've slapped him with the lawsuit. Okay, here's the status of that suit today, though. A judge has signed a temporary restraining order that will silence the music hall for the next 2 weeks until their injunction hearing. Okay, so White Oak hosts outdoor music concerts, but they've always followed the rules. That's what they're saying. They've always played their music within the city's
Well, that's
sound
a
ordinance.
problem with a city when you don't have any zoning. And so
Yep.
people
Oh,
will
yeah.
build anywhere, and you just have to
Major
deal with it.
Non-zoning, I
Yeah.
guess, right? And that's the problem. Families say they can't go to sleep, their kids are traumatized, you know, they have to study for finals, exams, and they can't do it because of all this music noise coming from that hall. But, you know, they are within the sound ordinance, so what do you do?
Yeah.
Yep, so it's a tough one. Anyway, our final topic, close to our hearts. We've been covering this story for a while. We end with our beloved courthouse candy man. Isiah and I both went to the memorial service today. It was beautiful. Take a listen.
I'm not perfect, but I'm perfect when you love me in spite of all.
Oh, it was really beautiful. I mean, your impression of it, you know, he was there.
Yeah,
so many
he touched
attorneys
so
turned up
many
for him.
people on a day-to-day basis standing outside of the Harris County Criminal Courthouse. Carmen Rowe, who's on the show,
Yep.
she was there. Chris Tritico, who's who in the legal community, all attended
They were all there.
the services today.
Absolutely. And, you know, he touched everyone because he was out there for 10 years. He became a courthouse fixture. You couldn't go there without
He
seeing
sold
him.
umbrellas, and what else?
And
You have it right
gum.
there.
You brought it back. So they had a giant bowl of M&Ms at the service just for everybody, and it's what Rick would have done himself, offer M&Ms to anyone. So Isiah, you know, brought one back, and this is the program from it. Very, very touching, and a lot of kind words from his family, thanking everybody, including you, the viewers, who wrote in and sent cards to him when he needed
We
it.
will miss him. The other major news story here in the city of Houston today, the bloodbath at the Harris County District Attorney's Office. Several people found themselves, at least 37, without jobs, top prosecutors there. We had a chance to speak with Kim Ogg this afternoon. Here's what she had to say.
Because the district attorney's job is to be the guardian of justice and to seek justice over convictions, I pledged that we would not have a win-at-all-cost mentality, that we would prize fairness and transparency and equality. And the leadership decisions that I made, changing out the management, are directed to that view. I want individuals who, through their past actions and through their professionalism, embody those very ideals. And that's who I'm seeking to fill these positions. It's not a comment on the people who are being let go. It's simply my desire to let the public know that what's important to me in leadership is the courage to do what's right, even when it's difficult. And to some degree, that's what today represents for me. I am planning to have a diverse management team, a diverse Harris County District Attorney's Office.
Now, what's so difficult about this particular story? We expected her to bring in some of her own people at the Harris County District Attorney's Office, but the biggest complaint from the legal community is how it was done. Not in person, not bringing these 37 individuals into her office and saying, look, we're no longer going to need your services. It was done with an email, something many consider cold. A woman who says she was going to bring diversity, a change to the Harris County District Attorney's Office. One of the people let go today is Tiffany Johnson, who is a Harris County Felony District Court Chief. You worked your way up after 14 years, and you got the word today, we don't want you anymore.
Exactly.
In an email.
Exactly.
Tell me about that.
And, you know, I think you're right. The hardest part is for 14 years, I dedicated my life to seeking justice for the victims of Harris County. All races, all types, it didn't matter who you were. If you were a victim of a crime, then we sought justice for you. And I think the hardest part is for so many people who, Isiah, a combined 680 years of service and experience to the citizens of Harris County, with no regard for what we've sacrificed, what we've done, who we've tried to help. And it's almost just like a slap in the face. It doesn't matter, you don't matter, politics is more important. And I think what I want to say is an email was not appropriate. We should have had a face-to-face with the newly elected DA. I think that's the most appropriate and respectful way, because at the end of the day, we're human beings who chose to wake up every morning and come do a very difficult job on a daily basis.
Now, Mrs. Ogse, this will not affect the way cases are handled in the Harris County District Attorney's Office. There won't be a break in continuity with these cases. You've been in the trenches. Will this affect if they put a new prosecutor on a case that you've been working on for a year, 2 years, possibly longer?
Yes. I think that's very misleading to the public and to the people who have elected her to take this position and to keep on the fight for justice, because all of us, we're not just management, we're not just middle management. We handle cases, we handle capital murders. Most of us handle the most serious cases in this county. We handle capital murders, we handle sexual assaults, we handle aggravated robberies, we handle the very serious child abuse cases. I myself had a caseload, and I think it's important to know that we are not just managers sitting in our offices doing nothing. We are in the courtrooms, we are trying cases, we are in front of the grand jury, we are doing real work, and it will have an effect because there are prosecutors who were let go, for example, who are handling the Jose, the 11-year-old who was murdered on the way home from school.
They've been cut.
They've been cut. So that family...
They need to bring in a new prosecutor,
correct,
new prosecutors to handle this high-profile case that was difficult in the beginning.
Right. And the family has already bonded with the prosecutors currently handling that case, and now the family's going to have to start over with someone new, Isiah, who may not have as much experience. And that's the issue here, is that she got rid of all the experience in the office of people who are handling our most serious crimes, people who have been greatly affected.
In the last 30 seconds, we want to get this in because one of the issues you brought up was that a lot of minority prosecutors were let go when Kim Ogg talked about diversity.
And that's correct.
30 seconds with that.
Thank you. She ran on a platform of bringing more diversity in management and upper management in our office. But then when she got rid of all of the diverse management from African Americans, Hispanics, Asian, Indian, all gone. All of the minority prosecutors that were in management, that were in handling cases, serious cases, are now gone. And I think it's misleading to say that you want more diversity and then the first thing you do is get rid of all the diversity in the office.
Tiffany Johnston, thank you for coming on the Isiah Factor Uncensored, and we wish you the best. We know you'll land on your feet.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
We'll be back. We're going to talk about the controversial case involving Chad Holley. Where did he go wrong? He's now charged with murder. We'll be back with Quanell X and Angela Box. Stay with us.
This time of the year, we're gonna celebrate, it's Christmas. Oh, let me smile.
And welcome back to the Isiah Factor Uncensored. Back in 2010, we were introduced to a high school student by the name of Chad Holley, and things have gone downhill ever since. Take a look.
It was back in 2010 when surveillance video captured 15-year-old Chad Holley being brutally beaten by a group of Houston police officers. This was after Holley burglarized a house. Despite the high school student's crime, he was well on his way to possibly getting millions of dollars for the beating he suffered at the hands of the officers. Some were disciplined while others were fired and charged criminally. But before his civil trial could begin against HPD, Holley is arrested again for another home burglary. Holley's civil attorney eventually walks away from the case. And then again this year, Holley is arrested and charged with capital murder in the death of a Houston man. The question tonight is, what is wrong with Chad Holley?
And that's a question we will put to community activist Quanell X along with Angela Box. We're discussing what went wrong with Chad Holley. What's wrong with Chad Holley? Now, you're close to him. You know his family. You've known him since 2010. What went wrong with this kid?
Well, first of all, many of us are assuming that the charges that they've put on him, these latest charges, he's guilty of. To be honest with you, I don't think he's guilty of capital murder. I don't think he committed that crime. But what went wrong with Chad Holley started way before Chad Holley was ever born. He was born into very bad circumstances and unfortunate situation. There's also some mental health issues with Chad Holley and the entire family that many of us don't even talk about. So Chad has been in adverse situations, adverse conditions from birth. What many call hell, Chad is called home. These latest charges, capital murder, you tell me Chad stole something, a petty thief, okay, maybe he did do that. But a cold-blooded killer, that's not Chad Holley. Do you realize, Isiah, that before they charged him with capital murder, the homicide investigators didn't even know the man had an ankle monitor on his ankle, a GPS tracking system? All they had to do was look at the GPS tracking system, analyze it, and they could tell whether the witness was telling the truth or not telling the truth. See, science is the big thing that can speak to all of this right now.
Before you go on, let's look back at the case where he was brutally beaten by Houston police officers. Then he was looking at potentially a multi-million-dollar settlement or lawsuit, civil lawsuit with the city of Houston. Was there no one in his circle, in his family, that could keep him in line when he committed the other burglaries after that?
You know, to be honest with you, Chad needed to really be removed and put in a whole separate environment to really have a fair chance at making some real progress. I don't want to get too deep into the family dynamics, but one thing I promised his mom before she died, that I would continue looking in on Chad and trying to advise and counsel Chad as best I possibly could. He's made a lot of mistakes.
2 years ago from cancer. Angela Boxell, to bring you into this.
Okay, so I applaud everybody trying to give someone a second, a third, a fourth chance, but from what I understand, this young man has violated his probation 47 times, whether it be small violations or larger violations. And Cornell is right. It's very simple to find out if the ankle monitor, if he was where they said he was. I doubt they would have charged him with capital murder had he not been. And this is the larger point of the media and the liberal narrative of crying racism and blaming police officers. And first of all, the 2010 thing that precipitated the Chad Holley case was atrocious and awful, and there are bad apples in every profession and they should be handled. But I think this kid he's been on a pedestal of sorts, and he's gotten chance after chance after chance, and now we see that unfortunately he's kind of out of chances. And we've seen it time and again where it's the blame police, it's a racist narrative, the whole thing with fake news, hands up, don't shoot, all these things that have come out.
Too many chances, Cornell?
I believe that Chad has had chances that he didn't appreciate and take advantage of. A lot of people, including myself, invested thousands of dollars and time into Chad Holley. So he has to pay and be held accountable for the mistakes he's continued to make as a grown man. He's no longer a child. But this capital murder charge, that's why I think you're wrong. I don't think he's guilty. Angela, I'm telling you right now, they did not even know the man had an ankle monitor on his ankle.
Last
the
20
DA's
seconds.
office didn't even know.
And if that's the case, then he will be vindicated. But from my vantage point, it's again, it's the Trayvon, it's the Michael Browns, it's the preponderance of evidence with this child, this young man, unfortunately.
But Trayvon has nothing to do with this. Michael Brown has nothing to do with this.
But it does because the media jumps to conclusions to blame the police, and
when
we'll see what happens.
When you have videos, that's not jumping to a conclusion.
But again,
that's
2010,
an actual fact.
and I think 2010 was one thing, and he has been given chance after chance after
Angela
chance.
Cornell X, thank you guys for coming on the Isiah Factor Uncensored. Such a tragic situation that we need to keep tabs on. We'll be back with
we have a
Isiah
victim,
Factor
so let's
Uncensored
remember him too.
in just a moment when we talk about the problem of fake news on the internet, on the social media, and the damage that it's doing. We'll be back after this. And welcome back to the Isiah Factor Uncensored. This segment, we're tackling a topic that has been a pain or a thorn in the side of politicians during this last election cycle. Fake news out there in this country doing damage to political candidates. Some are saying that it is why that Donald Trump was elected. There's a pizza Hillary Clinton allegedly selling weapons to ISIS, endorsing Donald Trump. The list goes on and on and on. Now, Facebook says they are putting in a policy to address the issue of fake news right here across the country. They're going to put fact checkers on their servers to make sure fake news won't get out there. Do you think that will work? Charles Adams, attorney and talk show host.
I don't think that this is about fake news. I think this is about censorship. The whole fake news controversy is the latest reason du jour to mask the fact that Hillary didn't connect with the voters in the swing state that she had to connect with. But who is making those decisions? Facebook is not paying these people. They're groups, they're very left-leaning groups, and it's going to result in just censorship of conservatism, which we've already seen by Facebook about a year ago. A scandal broke with Gizmodo. Even The Guardian, traditionally a left-leaning paper, is alarmed by the censorship that's going to happen. They're going to be deciding what we see and hear. And instead of just putting everything out there and letting intelligent Americans decide what is real and what's not, they're going to be censoring. And censorship is always bad, especially in America.
Tony Diaz, activist and college educator here. What do you think about that? Is this mainly the liberal media saying this is the reason why Hillary Clinton did not win? Or is it a legitimate issue?
Fake news is evil genius. So Donald Trump and his crew are like mad scientists who got their hands on a shrinking ray, and this basically shrinks deep ideas, deep thoughts, the American mind, and this all started when he was a reality TV star. So basically, this guy has convinced people and is good at making people think that a fake TV show is reality, and now we're suffering from that problem. And think about it, we have to come up with new words. Fake news is a bunch of lies. It's the same thing. It's the same thing the alt-right did. These are a bunch of racists who took the word all-white. They took the words all-white, mixed it up, and called it alt-right, and people can't tell the difference. So I think right now this is the poison of the American imagination. But let's make it clear: political correctness has been replaced by evil genius, and that's what we're dealing with right now.
Is that the case, Charles?
I mean, he's conflating so many issues that aren't even germane to this. The reality is, fake news isn't driven by racism. Fake news is driven by pay for clicks and money. Any fake news you're getting out of any part of the country is driven by people trying to make money by having people click through. There's no evil henchman that is deciding what people are going to read. People are clicking on things that are interesting, and that drives the narrative. But we are intelligent Americans. But when we assign a group of censors, the way most of us consume media through Facebook, then the question is, who are the censors? Well, we've looked at them. Snopes, run by two very far left liberals that have, you don't want anyone censoring. We can self-censor. We're intelligent Americans.
How about this? I have a public service announcement. So for all these crazy people that believe fake news, do not invade the North Pole and violently try and free the elves. There's right, there's wrong, there's a big difference. Fake news is a bunch of lies. Let's learn the difference.
Thank you, guys. Charles Adams, Tony Diaz, thank you for coming on for an interesting conversation about fake news here on the Isiah Factor Uncensored. When we come back, we'll continue talking politics. And also, coming up near the end of the show, stick with us, Pancho Claus.
Shall I play for you, pa-rum-pa-pum-pum?
And welcome back to the Isiah Factor Uncensored. We're going to check weather now with Dr. Jem.
The temperatures have been recovering and getting back into the 70s over the last 24 hours, but then we're going to see a quick warm up before this big storm system out to the west will finally push in some cooler air into southeast Texas. But we're talking about a major snowstorm all across the Midwest, back into the upper plain states and even the western parts of the United States. And all we're going to get out of this deal is maybe a little bit of rain right as that front passes. And then we're going to see cooler temperatures as we head on into the end of the weekend. But the high on Saturday is close to 81 degrees, but the high up in Amarillo, only 31 degrees. That's the high temperature. So record highs around the Gulf Coast, not so much in other parts of the state. The 7-day forecast looks like this then. The 50% chance for rain on Saturday is Saturday night, not during the day. And then we'll see highs only in the 40s for Sunday and Monday, lows in the 30s, and possibly even a light freeze Monday morning and Tuesday morning. So we're going to cool off in a hurry by Sunday.
All right, thanks a lot, Dr. Jim. Now we're talking politics with Kathleen McKinley and Carmen Rowe. Now, the president held his final press conference today, over an hour-long press conference, mainly focusing on some of the issues that may be troubling some Americans, like the Russians hacking or getting involved in this last presidential election. That was the big news out of that press conference today. So what do you believe? He says he's going to get to the bottom of it. He's going to the highest levels of the Russian government to see if there were rogue individuals who may have played a role in altering the outcome of the U.S. presidential election. Kathleen, you buy it? What?
I do not think they had anything to do with the outcome. Did they hack into the DNC? Yes, but the Podesta emails, WikiLeaks, whatever you want to believe about WikiLeaks as far as who is the source, it didn't really affect the election. Podesta emails weren't nothing juicy about Hillary. Nothing about Hillary came out during that. So I don't think it affected the election. Did they try to influence it? I don't know if they did, but I don't think they did. That's...
Carmen, what do you think? Are you that confident that the Russians didn't have a significant role in this U.S. presidential election?
I don't think there's any way we could know, but I do think that Obama needed to come out and make a strong statement about the concerns involved with the hacking, because that's a pretty serious allegation.
Is it too little, too late, though? He's about to walk out the door.
And that's the thing. I think he made a strong statement, and then he's gone, and that's it. I mean, but it's better than not making a statement at all and not speaking to something that's probably not going to be impacted at all on his watch. This is going to be Donald Trump's problem, if anyone's.
Is President-elect Donald Trump too close to Russia and Putin over there?
Well, I don't think so, and I've never seen any indication that I remember talking to someone who looks like they're going to be working for the UN about why Russia would want Trump over Hillary, and I never could get a good answer to that. Why they would, what the difference is between the two of them when it comes to Russian relationships. I don't see it. I see Trump as very, strong on what's good for America. So I don't think so.
What about you, Carmen?
I think there's an appearance of impropriety, and sometimes that's enough. In this case, that's what it looks like. It doesn't look good. It looks like there's smoke and there's fire. It's something Donald is going to have to address with the American people and try to give a better impression about his disconnect with the Russian government and with Putin individually.
Real quick, Kathleen, is it important that he address this issue, Donald Trump? That there is no close ties or connection with Russia?
Yes, it absolutely needs to be said. Our Senator Cornyn tweeted that Russia has always tried to, hack into our computers and all this. This isn't anything new. So, but he does need to reassure America that he is on our side, of course, and not Russia's. So.
All right, Kathleen McKinley, Carmen Rowe, you're dressed Christmassy for our Christmas edition. Thank you, guys. We'll be back with more Isiah Factor Uncensored in just a moment. Some explosive video involving an Oklahoma football player who socked his girlfriend, punched her. We'll be back with that. Welcome back to Isiah Factor Uncensored, live here at Boudreaux's. They said I was eating up their time, so I'm going to toss it to Mish and Carmen for fun and games.
Oh my God! Look at that, he's leaving. Fine, we're going to use our time. Hello, everybody. So here's what's up. The infamous video. University of Oklahoma running back, Mr. Mixon, is finally out. It's like a holiday blockbuster movie we've been waiting to see. So here's what's up. He is punching a female student in the face. And admittedly, she shoved him, he pushed her back, but honey, he unleashes the fists of fury and down goes Frazier. This girl looks like she is knocked out cold. He ended up getting about a year of probation, 100 hours of community service, and he had to do some behavioral counseling. But the online backlash for this thing is horrible.
Two wrongs right there. That's all I got to say. Two wrongs. He should have just walked away.
He should have.
Eric Price tweeted, not defending Joe, but what did the girl think would happen after she pushes and slaps someone across the face?
Yes.
Noah tweeted, how is Joe Mixon allowed to continue playing football when the head coach and AD saw the video?
Yeah, it's horrible. And it's worth noting, though, that he also was seen ripping up a parking ticket on campus after someone, issued him something for violating
anger management issues.
What else you got? He's a big old brat.
Rest in peace, Alex.
Yeah.
2016 has taken all of our our celebrities away.
Yeah.
So rest in peace, Alan Thicke, America's favorite dad, who played Jason Seaver on the show Growing Pains, died on Tuesday. Now, he was actually playing hockey with his son. He wasn't feeling too good. They called the ambulance. And you know the crazy part about this whole situation is he looked at his son and said, take a picture so that you can always remember this.
Oh,
and
gosh.
he died of a heart attack. So we're
Yeah.
definitely going to miss him. Robin Thicke is taking it pretty hard. Also, Alan Thicke is also responsible for the theme songs, The Wheel of Fortune, Facts of Life, and Different Strokes. So he will be missed.
Right, and what's even stranger about this is the tacky tweet heard around the world from Lisa Edelstein from The Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce, Bravo TV star. She actually said, "Rip Alan Thicke, seems like everyone is checking out before the Trumpocalypse." Tackiest thing we've ever seen. She has not apologized yet, but people are all over Twitter just going after her for that. That is the worst thing I think I've ever seen. Yeah,
I'm not saying anything.
horrible.
I don't want to mess with your time.
You know what?
I'm not messing with your
He's
time.
being naughty, not Carmen. He's
Let me
being
give
naughty.
you the naughty hat
Yeah,
right
you
now,
are being
'cause you're
naughty.
very ugly and naughty.
You know what? We're moving on. We're moving on. We got one more. Okay, so Google.
Who was trending? Were you trending in 2016? In Houston, you were trending.
Look at it. Look at him.
Congrats, he was trending.
Google put out a list of what Houstonians were searching for, and we searched the list to see if you were on it.
Was I?
No,
Yeah,
you
kinda,
were not.
sorta.
In our minds and hearts, you were on the list.
Now, according to Google, Hillary Clinton, Houston's own Simone Biles are the most popular women of 2016. We need a recount because we're the most popular women.
Thank you.
Hello. Can we
Thank you.
recount?
And Isaiah
Okay.
needs to be on that list as well. But what
Yes.
about the other stuff they searched?
Also, huge congratulations is going out to Simone Biles, ESPN's Woman of the Year. And other searches, Powerball, Prince, David Bowie, Pokemon Go. Can we just get rid of Pokemon?
We have to, yeah, but my mom is responsible for half the Google searches for Powerball. I just have to say that.
Also, top trending people, El Chapo. El Chapo.
Right. Why are we looking up drug lords? Yeah,
And
Google.
Donald Trump.
Number one search drink, sangria.
Is it?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Worldwide.
Is it?
Yes.
I didn't
I
know
like
that.
sangria.
Do you like sangria?
No.
Oh, excuse
only
me.
drink
Are we
milk.
drinking some? Right.
Thank you, lady.
Don't lie at Christmas time.
Wait, you're talking too
Don't
much.
And you look
lie.
Christmas.
Don't
We'll
lie
be
at the
back
holidays.
with Pancho
Don't
Claus
do
and
that.
Mark Berman with sports. Stay with us. We'll be back.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go.
And welcome back to the Isiah Factor Uncensored, and we want to congratulate the Houston Rockets defeating the New Orleans Pelicans 122-100, and Mark Berman has the latest in sports. Take a look.
Rockets coach Mike D'Antoni clearly would like to have had Donatas Motiejunas, but certainly gets the business side of the game in the wake of the team choosing to cut ties with him by renouncing Demo's rights, making him an unrestricted free agent, and re-signing guard Bobby Brown.
From a team standpoint, we lost a piece that could have been helpful. Too bad it didn't work out, but it didn't, and now we'll just go on and we'll make the best of it. But you know, he's a pro, and hopefully it'll work out for him. Just hoping that he would be with the team and be a big part of what we do, but you know, it just didn't work out yet. You know, I'm not here to say one way or the other. It just didn't work out, and we've got now a job to do, and we'll do it.
Oh man. You know, it's tough. I don't know what happened really. I don't really know the situation, but I wish Demo the best. You know, he was a great teammate to me for the few years I was here. I was hoping he was coming back, but you know, whatever's best for him. And you know, we're happy to have Bobby back, and we got to keep winning.
With Whitney Merciless missing back-to-back practices with a back injury, the team could turn to rookie linebacker Brennan Scarlett, who's returned to practice after being on IR.
I'm just thankful for the opportunity, you know, that they see enough in me to put me back on the active roster and let me go out and help this team win.
In their three-point win over Jacksonville last month, the Texans ran for 185 yards, averaging 5.5 yards a carry. The Texans could use that kind of production on Sunday against the Jaguars.
To win football games in December and then obviously in the playoffs, you know, I think there's a couple core ingredients to doing that, and one of those is running the football effectively. So, you know, if we can run the ball and get over 5 yards a carry, that's huge.
We know it'll be tougher. You know, they're going to make a lot of adjustments, I'm sure, to stop that. But it's a mentality that we have to, you know, keep running the ball.
Episcopal offensive lineman Walker Little, one of the best in the nation, announced his decision to commit Friday, choosing between Texas and Stanford.
So now, I would like to announce that for the next 4 years, I'll be going to school and playing football at Stanford University. I want to find a school that I felt I could be most successful at, and a place where I could to meet every need I needed, and a place I knew I could feel comfortable at, and a place I knew I could compete both academically and on the football field. And this is the place that I felt was best for me. It was very tough. I mean, between Stanford and Texas, like I said, both those schools are going to be close to my heart for the rest of my life. Growing up in Texas, especially, it was hard to say no, but I just thought that Stanford gave me the best opportunity to do what I want to do in life, and I couldn't pass that up.
College basketball doubleheader Saturday at Toyota Center. Texas A&M gets Arizona, and Texas gets Arkansas.
It's a great opportunity for us. I mean, first of all, Houston being so important to University of Texas in general, with so many alums, so many supporters. Then the fact that there's so many great players in and around the city of Houston. We got guys on our team, multiple guys with Houston roots and Houston ties, and it's a high quality opponent in Arkansas, so we're looking forward to playing the game.
Mark Berman, Fox 26 Sports.
And once again, congratulations to the Houston Rockets. They defeated the New Orleans Pelicans 122-100 tonight. Now this is a special edition of Isiah Factor Uncensored, live here at Boudreaux's Friday Night Live. And we have a very special guest, a man who personifies Christmas in the city of Houston, Pancho Claus, doing this for 36 years. We want to thank you for coming on the Isiah Factor Uncensored. Why is it important that you are Pancho Claus here in this community?
I guess it's important because our community really bonds together at Christmas time. We give away tens of thousands of presents, but with a lot of organizations, from Sheila Jackson Lee, Navidad en el Barrio, Precinct 6, Al Craig, TBH, Talento Bilingüe de Houston, and it's a chance, I can put on my social media, we need beds, and then people, they just need a place to do that, so it's nice.
And how does that make you feel that you have the power to galvanize the community to come together to help people at a time when they need help like Christmas?
Well, it took 36 years of getting the trust and confidence and credibility in the community, and all the volunteers, all the lowriders, like the H-Town bombers, and all the police officers, teachers, social workers, etc., that came together to create this. In other words, everybody's a Pancho Claus in this city. And not just me, I'm just kind of the figurehead, but it's the whole city that contributes.
Does it ever get old to you when you see the smiles on the children's faces and the parents' faces when they can't afford to buy something for Christmas, and here you are arriving with that gift that they so desperately need?
Well, that's why Christmas Day is so important to us. We go through the city streets with Precinct 6 and volunteers and lowriders and kids that didn't get anything for Christmas, they get that surprise, and that's when you really see it. You see the moms and the grandmothers crying in the background, and you know you made an impact.
Why Pancho Claus? You could have just been Santa Claus. Why Pancho Claus?
The truth is, I joined the TBH Center, Talento Bilingüe de Houston, in 1980, and they had it on the schedule, Pancho Claus. And I said, what is this about? They said, well, we haven't written it yet. And I said, well, what is it? And they said, well, maybe a Mexican in a sombrero, serape on a burro, And but Edward Olmos came out with Zoot Suit in 1981, so I just patterned it after that.
Now, what does it do to young Hispanic kids in the community to see, and you're not just for them, you're for all the kids in the community,
that's right.
But to see someone that has connected to their heritage, what does it do for them?
Well, I think it makes them proud to see, because when I started going to the schools in 1981, now they have ballet folklóricos and mariachis and that kind of curriculum, but they didn't have that then. And so we were something unique that they could identify with. So I think it's just identification.
Okay. And there is a parade that you're participating in, not far from here. Tell us a little bit about that and how families and their children can get involved.
It's called the Deck the Hall Parade, and it's around the Braeswood area, and that whole community comes out with presents during the parade route for the Pancho Claus project, and we're just so appreciative of them. And it starts at 5 o'clock. It's called Deck the Hall. You can easily find it.
And who's it open to? Can anyone participate in it?
It's open to the whole Houston and surrounding area community. And we'll have the lowrider there, the Tax Fiesta lowrider, and be, cruising down the city streets.
Now, how much longer will you continue to carry the role and the mantle of Pancho Claus? And is there someone out there you would like to pass it on to?
Yeah, there is. There is. My son Renee is probably going to take it over. We're hoping, and I'll go as long as I can go. It's like I tell people, I feel like I've never worked a day in my life for this job. So.
All right. Thanks a lot, Pancho
Thank
Claus.
you.
We want to thank you for
Feliz
coming
Navidad.
on the Isiah Factor Uncensored.
Thank you.
And we want you to stand by, stay with us, because we're going to do a Merry Christmas at the end of the show.
Great.
Make sure you stay with us. We're here live at Boudreaux's Isiah Factor Uncensored. Make sure you tweet us at #Isiah Factor. We'll be back after this. Stay with us.
I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Only a hippopotamus will do.
Shall I play for you, pum-pum?
And we want to thank you guys once again for joining us here on the Isiah Factor Uncensored, the Christmas edition, because we all will be off next Friday. But we want to thank you for sticking in there with us in 2016. So what do we have to say? In 3, 2, 1. Merry Christmas! Feliz Navidad! Good night, everyone.
Happy everything. Merry Christmas.
This newscast brought to you by Carpet Giant.